Hey family, this is day 90 of our Reading Through the Bible Together in a Year series. Today we're in the book of 2 Samuel and we're doing chapters 14 starting in verse 21 all the way through chapter 17. So the story that we are finishing in chapter 14, is that Absalom, David's son, kills Amnon, David's other son, for forcing himself on Tamar, which is David's daughter. And so everybody's related in the story. But Absalom kills Amnon and flees. And so Joab, the leader of David's armies, sends this woman from Tekoa to go plead to David in a parabolic way and not reveal that it's about Absalom, and so that David will call out to Absalom and have Absalom come home. So we're going to see how that plays out today.
The king said to Joab, Behold, now I have granted this thing. Go therefore and bring the young man Avshalom back. Joab fell to the ground on his face, showed respect, and blessed the king. Joab said, Today your servant knows that I have found favor in your sight, my lord, O king, in that the king has performed the request of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur, and brought Avshalom to Jerusalem. The king said, Let him return to his own house, but let him not see my face. So Avshalom returned to his own house, and didn't see the king's face. Now in all Israel there was no one to be so much praised as Avshalom for his beauty. From the sole of his foot even to the crown of his head there was no defect in him. When he cut the hair of his head, now it was at every year's end that he cut it, because it was heavy on him, therefore he cut it. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight. 3 sons were born to Avshalom, and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman with a beautiful face. Avshalom lived 2 full years in Jerusalem, and he didn't see the king's face. Then Avshalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but he would not come to him. Then he sent again a second time, but he would still not come. Therefore he said to his servants, Behold, Joab's field is near mine, and he has barley there. Go and set it on fire. So Avshalom's servants set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and came to Avshalom to his house, and said to him, Why have your servants set my field on fire? Avshalom answered Joab, Behold, I sent to you, saying, Come here, that I may send you to the king to say, Why have I come from Geshur? It would be better for me to be there still. Now therefore let me see the king's face, and if there is iniquity in me, let him kill me. So Joab came to the king and told him, and when he had called for Avshalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Avshalom. After this, Avshalom prepared a chariot and horses for himself, and 50 men to run before him. Avshalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. When any man had a civil case which should come to the king for judgment, then Avshalom called to him and said, What city are you from? He said, Your servant is of one of the tribes of Israel. Avshalom said to him, Behold, your matters are good and right, but there is no man deputized by the king to hear you. Avshalom said moreover, Oh, that I were made a judge in the land, that every man who has any civil case or cause might come to me, and I would do him justice. It was so that when any man came near to bow down to him, he stretched out his hand and took hold of him and kissed him. Avshalom did this sort of thing to all Israel who came to the king for judgment. So Avshalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. At the end of 40 years, Avshalom said to the king, Please let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed to Yahweh in Hebron. For your servant vowed a vow while I stayed at Geshur in Syria, saying, If Yahweh shall indeed bring me again to Jerusalem, then I will serve Yahweh. The king said to him, Go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. But Avshalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then you shall say, Avshalom is king in Hebron. 200 men went with Avshalom out of Jerusalem, who were invited, and went in their simplicity, and they didn't know anything. Avshalom sent for Achitophel, the Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city, even from Gilo, while he was offering the sacrifices. The conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Avshalom. A messenger came to David, saying, The hearts of the men of Israel are after Avshalom. David said to all his servants who were with him in Jerusalem, Arise, let's flee, or else none of us will escape from Avshalom. Hurry to depart, lest he overtake us quickly and bring down evil on us, and strike the city with the edge of the sword. The king's servants said to the king, Behold, your servants are ready to do whatever my lord the king chooses. The king went out and all his household after him. The king left 10 women who were concubines to keep the house. The king went out and all the people after him, and they stayed at Beit Marchak. All his servants passed on beside him, and all the Kerethites and all the Pelethites and all the Gittites, 600 men who came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. Then the king said to Ittai the Gittite, "Why do you also go with us? Return and stay with the king, for you are a foreigner and also an exile. Return to your own place, whereas you came but yesterday. Should I today make you go up and down with us, since I go where I may? Return and take back your brothers. Mercy and truth be with you." Ittai answered the king and said, "As Yahweh lives, and as my lord the king lives, surely in what place my lord the king is, whether for death or for life, your servant will be there also." David said to Ittai, "Go and pass over." Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones who were with him. All the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. Behold, Zadok also came, and all the Levites with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down God's ark, and Abiathar went up until all the people finished passing out of the city. The king said to Zadok, "Carry God's ark back into the city. If I find favor in Yahweh's eyes, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. But if he says, 'I have no delight in you,' behold, here I am. Let him do to me as seems good to him." The king said also to Zadok the priest, "Aren't you a seer? Return into the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahimaaz your son, and Jonathan son of Abiathar. Behold, I will stay at the fords of the wilderness until the word comes from you to inform me." Zadok therefore and Abiathar carried God's ark to Jerusalem again, and they stayed there. David went up by the ascent of the Mount of Olives, and wept as he went up, and he had his head covered and went barefoot. All the people who were with him each covered his head, and they went up, weeping as they went up. Someone told David, saying, "Achitophel is among the conspirators with Avshalom." David said, "Yahweh, please turn the counsel of Achitophel into foolishness." When David had come to the top where God was worshipped, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him with his tunic torn and earth on his head. David said to him, "If you pass on with me, then you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the city and tell Avshalom, 'I will be your servant, O king, as I have been your father's servant in time past, so I will now be your servant,' then you will defeat for me the counsel of Achitophel. Don't you have Zadok and Abiathar the priests there with you? Therefore whatever you hear out of the king's house, tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. Behold, they have there with them their 2 sons, Ahimaaz, Zadok's son, and Jonathan, Abiathar's son. Send to me everything that you shall hear by them." So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Avshalom came into Jerusalem. When David was a little past the top, behold, Ziva, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple of donkeys saddled, and on them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 clusters of raisins, and 100 summer fruits, and a container of wine. The king said to Ziva, "What do you mean by these?" Ziva said, "The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on, and the bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine that those who are faint in the wilderness may drink." The king said, "Where is your master's son?" Ziva said to the king, "Behold, he is staying in Jerusalem. For he said, 'Today the house of Israel will restore me the kingdom of my father.'" Then the king said to Ziva, "Behold, all that belongs to Mephibosheth is yours." Ziva said, "I bow down. Let me find favor in your sight, my lord, O king." When King David came to Bahurim, behold, a man of the family of Shaul's house came out, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gerah. He came out and cursed as he came. He cast stones at David and at all of the servants of King David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. Shimei said when he cursed, be gone, you man of blood, you wicked fellow. Yahweh has returned on you all the blood of Shaul's house, in whose place you have reigned. Yahweh has delivered the kingdom into the hand of Avshalom your son. Behold, you are caught by your own mischief, because you are a man of blood." Then Avishai, the son of Zeruiah, said to the king, "Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Please let me go over and take off his head." The king said, "What have I to do with you, you son of Zeruiah? Because he curses, and because Yahweh has said to him, 'Curse David,' who then shall say, 'Why have you done so?'" David said to Avishai and to all his servants, "Behold, my son, who came out of my bowels, seeks my life. How much more this Benjamite now? Leave him alone and let him curse, for Yahweh has invited him. It may be that Yahweh will look on the wrong done to me, and that Yahweh will repay me good for the cursing of me today." So David and his men went by the way, and Shimei went along the hillside opposite him, and cursed as he went, threw stones at him, and threw dust. The king and all the people who were with him arrived weary, and he refreshed himself there. Avshalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Achitophel with him. When Hushai the Archite, David's friend, had come to Avshalom, Hushai said to Avshalom, "Long live the king! Long live the king!" Avshalom said to Hushai, "Is this your kindness to your friend? Why didn't you go with your friend?" Hushai said to Avshalom, "No, but whomever Yahweh and this people and all the men of Israel have chosen, I will be his, and I will stay with him. Again, whom should I serve? Shouldn't I serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in your father's presence, so I will be in your presence." Then Avshalom said to Achitophel, "Give your counsel that we shall do." Achitophel said to Avshalom, "Go into your father's concubines that he has left to keep the house. Then all Israel will hear that you are abhorred by your father. Then the hands of all who are with you will be strong." So they spread a tent for Avshalom on the top of the house, and Avshalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. The counsel of Achitophel, which he gave in those days, was as if a man inquired at the inner sanctuary of God. All the counsel of Achitophel was like this both with David and with Avshalom. Moreover, Achitophel said to Avshalom, "Let me now choose 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David tonight. I will come on him while he is weary and exhausted, and will make him afraid. All the people who are with him will flee. I will strike the king only, and I will bring back all the people to you. The man whom you seek is as if all returned. All the people shall be in peace." The saying pleased Avshalom well, and all the elders of Israel. Then Avshalom said, "Now call Hushai the Archite also, and let's hear likewise what he says." When Hushai had come to Avshalom, Avshalom spoke to him, saying, "Achitophel has spoken like this. Shall we do what he says? If not, speak up." Hushai said to Avshalom, "The counsel that Achitophel has given this time is no good." Hushai said moreover, "You know your father and his men, that they are mighty men, and that they are fierce in their minds, like a bear robbed of her cubs in the field. Your father is a man of war, and will not lodge with the people. Behold, he is now hidden in some pit, or in some other place. It will happen, when some of them have fallen at the first, that whoever hears of it will say, 'There is a slaughter among the people who follow Avshalom.' Even he who is valiant, whose heart is as the heart of a lion, will utterly melt. For all Israel knows that your father is a mighty man, and those who are with him are valiant men. But I counsel that all Israel be gathered together to you, from Dan even Beersheba, as the sand that is by the sea for the multitude, and that you go to battle in your own person. So we will come on him in some place where he will be found, and we will light on him as the dew falls on the ground. Then we will not leave so much as one of him and of all the men who are with him. Moreover, if he has gone into a city, then all Israel will bring ropes to that city, and we will draw it into the river, until there isn't one small stone found there." Avshalom and all the men of Israel said, "The counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Achitophel. For Yahweh has ordained to defeat the good counsel of Achitophel, to the intent that Yahweh might bring evil on Avshalom." Then Hushai said to Zadok and to Abiathar the priests, "Achitophel counseled Avshalom and the elders of Israel that way, and I have counseled this way. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, 'Don't lodge tonight at the fords of the wilderness, but by all means pass over, lest the king be swallowed up, and all the people who were with him.'" Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz were staying by En Ragel, and a female servant used to go and report to them, and they went and told King David, for they couldn't risk being seen coming into the city. But a boy saw them and told Avshalom. Then they both went away quickly and came to the house of a man in Bahurim, who had a well in his court, and they went down there. The woman took and spread the covering over the well's mouth, and spread out crushed grain on it, and nothing was known. Avshalom's servants came to the woman to the house, and they said, "Where are Ahimaaz and Jonathan?" The woman said to them, "They have gone over the brook of the water." When they had sought and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. After they had departed, they came up out of the well and went and told King David. And they said to David, "Arise and pass quickly over the water, for thus has Achitophel counseled against you." Then David arose, and all the people who were with him, and they passed over the Jordan. By the morning light there lacked not one of them who had not gone over the Yarden. When Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his donkey, arose, and went home to his city, set his house in order, and hanged himself. And he died, and he was buried in the tomb of his father. Then David came to Machanaim. Absalom passed over the Yarden, he and all the men of Israel with him. Absalom set Amasa over the army instead of Joab. Now Amasa was the son of a man whose name was Yithra the Israelite, who went into Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister to Zeruiah, Joab's mother. Israel and Absalom encamped in the land of Gilead. When David had come to Machanaim, Shovi, the son of Nahash of Arabah, the children of Ammon, and Machir, the son of Amiel of Lodebar, and Barzillai, the Gileadite of Rogelim, brought beds, basins, earthen vessels, wheat, barley, meal, parched grain, beans, lentils, roasted grain, honey, butter, sheep, and cheese of the herd, for David and for the people who were with him to eat. For they said, "The people are hungry, weary, and thirsty in the wilderness."
And so Absalom, he comes back to Jerusalem, and he doesn't have a relationship with his father anymore. And it says that whoever came to Israel, Absalom would ask, whoever would come to Jerusalem to ask for judgments from the king, Absalom would ask, "Where are you from?" And if they were from Israel, and they're making the distinction here between Judah and Israel, right? Which is a distinction that kind of lasts for a long time. Judah and Benjamin, most likely, the two southern tribes, and the northern tribes, the northern 10 tribes, is considered Israel, and then Judah is the southern. And so that distinction has been made, even though it hasn't been super clear. But it's almost as Absalom is trying to gain favor specifically with the northern 10 tribes. And he does, and then it becomes a problem, and then David has to flee, and Absalom's trying to take over as king. And it's just interesting that, like, David has no vengeful attitude. I mean, he escapes, and he doesn't want to be killed and whatnot, but, like, he doesn't want to kill his own son, and he's not vengeful. And even the guy that shows up, what's his name? Shimei is cursing him, and saying, like, the whole reason why this is happening to you is because you're bloody and you killed the house of Saul, and like, this is all your fault. And David's men are like, "We should kill this guy for cursing you." And David's like, "Don't worry, God will take care of it." So David just doesn't have a vengeful attitude, which is kind of nice. It's interesting, though, but, if we continue on this theme of, what is it to mean to be a man after God's own heart, like David is it this compassionate side for those who have wronged him? It's this non-vengeful side of things. And so it's interesting stories. Like I said before, like, I haven't really spent a lot of time in 2 Samuel in this part of the story, so it's interesting to me, a lot of stuff to think about. But I hope you have something to think about as you have a wonderful day.